It's Clive Rocksinger here. Well, I've got to the stage where I'm putting this switch on. This is actually off a saw, but it'll be alright, Did I design this to be all, fancy? No, I stuffed it all up. I don't have to learn to make bits all over again. I have to learn for the first time. I couldn't read till I was 38. I've got a kind of dyslexia. People say, you're not trying hard enough. So I used to try harder, and I'd peer and try and see, and I ended up giving myself cascading headaches for years. I'd get a migraine that lasted a fortnight from just the stress and the pressure trying to read when I was literally blind. I needed glasses. And my mother was an awful woman. Wasn't really her fault. She was a sick person. She told me when I was younger, she said, you don't need glasses. She said, the girls won't like you. Of course, being a young kid, I thought that was paramount. And she lied. She continued to lie right through the years I was at school. And I didn't find out till I was 38 that I actually needed glasses. And I also had this kind of dyslexia as well. So I was literally blind. So when I used to make brackets, I used to do it artistically because I used to draw. I was able to make things by eye. And but now what's happening is, because I'm starting to do dimensions and use rulers, and I can now read a ruler. I could never read a millimetre ruler up until I was got glasses at 38. I couldn't read a millimetre ruler, and I'd peer and try and see it, and I could never see it. I wouldn't want to let on. But now that I'm using a ruler, I'm getting it all messed up. So I've really got to learn this stuff for the first time. Kind of late in life to be learning it. I completely marked this up. What I did was I made those in the centre. When they weren't actually in the centre, that's actually offset. Those screws on that plate there. And but what I'll do is I'll just round those off, and round off the ones under the switch, and make it all fancy. Take these corners off and just round that around. That'll do. I'm a bit disappointed in myself. Terrified to start this thing on. The way you would think to do it would be to get this lead, stretch it over, plug it into the wall and turn it on. Very, very, very bad idea. If anything throws out or something spins off, it's hellish dangerous. So what I'm going to do is put an extension lead on this and plug it into this unit here, and then flick it on from here just for a second, and be well away from the motor when it fires up, so that if in fact it decides to throw something off it or it does something weird, I'm not going to get hurt by it. You've got to really think of this stuff. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I dislocated my arm and had to hitchhike into town. Took me an hour to get in there, and then they gave me Panamax, and I was in agony for another hour and a half with the cascading headaches. The Panamax did nothing. 2.5 hours I was in agony before they finally decided to pull the dislocated arm out. Now, the trick of this is, back in days of old when that lathe was new, if you wanted to put a fan on it, you'd have to go to great lengths. You'd almost have to design one. Now, you buy stuff from the supermarket. Where the problem is with this motor is it does 2800 RPM and it's a saw motor. So it's not used to long durations of load, and it's a fairly high revving motor. So I needed to cool it down, so I've got a little fan here. It's a little USB fan that I bought from the supermarket. And that's more than good enough. That's actually designed to run. You could probably run that for an hour and it'll be fine. So that's putting off a nice little bit of air, and I'll have that blowing on the motor. And it's just got to blow the heat away from it and try and cool it down, so that if it starts to overheat and it's in the middle of a cut, I can actually turn the fan on and reduce the heat of it. So it's just a fail-safe, just in case the motor starts to get hot in the middle of a cut. I can put a fan on it, so I've got to mount all of that. But basically it's all coming along very nicely. The switch is a bit big and awful, but and this aluminium that I got from the hardware store, it appears to be aluminium cast. It's quite rigid. You can bend it, but it's very rigid. But it's it's pretty tough for aluminium. It's not bad. So that's actually a little bit wiggly for the switch, but I don't think that's not plugged in. I don't think there's nothing there. That'll be alright. I can do that. It'll work alright for the time being. But I probably want to make metal brackets up at a later date, and I've got to try and find some way to attach the wiring so that it's well away from everything. So this is just in transition, just do one thing at a time. I've got my wall unit up there with some nice switches on that, so I'm part of the way there. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. It's all assembled on there. I've got all the motor on, it's all ready to go. But I'm very, very scared to turn this thing on because I don't know what it's going to do. So what I'm going to do is connect it up over here and just flick it on for a second. That's what's good about these switches. You can flick them on and off for a millisecond. All I'm going to do is get it to rotate and make sure there's nothing going to fly off it. Yeah, I'm pretty close to getting this thing going. Clive Rocksinger, over and out.